The gifts we give are very inexpensive insurance that has led us to keep tenants in place until they have a major life change, like they move out of town for their job, or they get married, or maybe they buy a house. We offer referral bonuses to tenants who refer a friend to rent from us. What do you think that they're telling those friends about us as landlords? What everyone should be saying about their landlords: that we care about the property and about them as tenants, that we make an effort to help our tenants feel welcome and at home in our rentals, that we respect our tenants enough to think about them during seasons that for some may be a really difficult time of the year for them. And kindness is what life is all about. Welcome to your Landlord Resource Podcast. Many moons ago, when I started as a landlord, I was as green as it gets. I may have had my real estate license, but I lacked confidence and the hands-on experience needed when it came to dealing with tenants, leases, maintenance, and bookkeeping. After many failed attempts, fast forward to today, Kevin and I have doubled our doors and created an organized, professionally operated rental property business. Want to go from overwhelmed to confident? If you're an ambitious landlord or maybe one in the making, join us as we provide strategies and teach actionable steps to help you reach your goals and the lifestyle you desire, all while building a streamlined and profitable rental property business. This is your Landlord Resource Podcast. Hey, landlords. Thanks so much for listening today. I am Stacy, and I'm here with the man who puts up with all my nonsense, my husband, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, you put up with a lot of my crap too.
Aw, well, marriage. It's wonderful 98% of the time.
Wow. You're giving it a pretty high mark then.
Yeah, well, you're pretty easygoing. Plus, you know what? You love my boys like your own, and for that, I am willing to put up with some of your crap.
Just not the way I load the dishwasher or my snoring though, huh?
Seriously, do not keep me going on how you stack that dishwasher, where I appreciate that you do the dishes. Sometimes it's just easier to do it myself. And the snoring I'm getting better at. I just need to make sure I'm asleep before you. So, we had a request from someone to talk about welcome gifts. The episode will be a short one, more of a tip that we have always recommended, and that we're just going to expand on it a bit. Tenant welcome gifts have been something we have done for many, many years. I don't remember why I started it, but I think I was probably grateful that we finally had rented a unit that had been vacant for a while. Anyway, I was at the store, I think it was Trader Joe's, and I picked up a bag of tortilla chips and a jar of salsa. And as I walked down the aisle, I saw trail mix and thought, oh, that would be pretty easy to munch on when you're moving in. And then I picked up a few Cliff Bars and a chocolate bar. And once I got home, I grabbed a couple bottles of water to include. And we had just moved our offices to one where I no longer had to provide my own supplies, leaving me with a bunch of individually wrapped toilet paper rolls. So I added one of those to the bag. The last thing I included was a roll of paper towels in case they spilled during the move. I figured paper goods are likely not something they're going to have readily available, and maybe I should give the new tenants those so they won't have to search through boxes when they, gotta go. We had gotten to the unit early on the day we were meeting that new tenant to sign the lease, and I set it up on the kitchen counter along with a greeting card that said, "Welcome home."
I actually remember that. I mean, you have a generous nature about you anyway, so that didn't surprise me. But what did surprise me was how excited the tenant got when they saw the gift. They said they had never received a gift of any nature from a landlord before.
Yeah, well, that made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and I love doing nice things for people, and especially when it leaves them feeling good.
So as the years have progressed, you've made quite a few changes though to the gift, right?
Yes. So for a while, I was including a local magazine that highlighted all the great restaurants and fun things to do in the city. But as magazines started to drop off or become more than what it cost to buy lunch, I dropped that off. Plus, if people were already from the area, that part of the gift wasn't so impressive. So as time progressed, we found there were items that could directly benefit us, but more specifically, the damage that tenants had caused. So the first change we made was to include a blue sponge. Now, you guys might think this is lame, but we had a tenant who, in response to our email that detailed what needed to be cleaned before they moved out, used a green abrasive sponge to clean the entire kitchen. I shit you not. They used it on the stovetop and wait for it, the wood cabinet door faces. The cabinets were riddled with swirl marks from using that green sponge.
Oh, man. I mean, we had never seen anything like that before. We were both so ticked off.
Hey, they were clean though.
Yeah, that's true. But we had a lot of work to make those cabinets look decent again before we could rent the unit.
Yeah, so that's why we started to give the tenants a blue sponge with their welcome gift. When we met them to do the signings, we explained that we prefer that they use that sponge or a rag or something non abrasive to clean appliances, porcelain sinks, and the cabinets. Porcelain sinks will lose their shine and then they will stain much easier. And as we have updated units, we have replaced those pretty white sinks with stainless steel ones now. However, the stainless steel refrigerators and dishwashers, as well as those black stovetops, they will show swirl marks if anything abrasive is used on it.
So that is why we've had to add in our lease addendum a section about using anything abrasive to clean will result in a deduction of their security deposit for damages. We also recently started including a 3M claw picture hanger with the gift. Again, focusing on items that will help lower the damage caused to the unit upon move out. Now, these new hangers come in a variety of sizes. I believe the largest one can hold up to 45 pounds. Now, that's a seriously strong hanger to use on your wall. The one that we give out holds 15 pounds. But the unique and special thing about it is the tenants will not have to use any tools to install it. They're just made to push right into the drywall. They have a small hook or claw that grabs on and holds whatever is being hung on the wall in place. No anchors, no toggle bolts, no large holes in the walls when they move out. They're pretty amazing. They're perfect for hanging heavy mirrors or artwork. The engineered hardened steel claw locks securely into the drywall. The package includes a spot marker to mark where the mirror or art piece will hang. It only makes 3 small holes in the wall that are easy to repair, and again, no tools are required to find a stud. We'll link them in the show notes. Not only do we recommend these for our tenants, we actually use them in our own home.
Yeah, tenants are a bit perplexed when they see them, but after we explain what they're for, they get excited to try them out. And just for a quick sideline, we also do have a clause in our lease that tenants can only have so many holes in a wall, and the holes cannot be larger than a 1/4 inch, or we're going to charge them for that repair. We do this for a couple of reasons. We want our tenants to enjoy the home, personalize it, make it their own. However, those beautiful photo murals that everyone likes to hang up nowadays do some serious damage to the walls. Where we could require them to make repairs prior to moving out, we have textured walls that cannot have like a big blob of putty put on it, or it shows right where the repair was made. And many tenants really do not have the experience or know-how to repair holes in walls.
You're not kidding, because man, it took me a while to learn how to do it correctly myself. But to continue with Stacy's sidelines there, putting that clause in the lease has really made a difference. Tenants will think twice before they hang up a bunch of photos on their walls now. And the nice thing is that when we do go to do our pre-move out walkthroughs, if we see a bunch of pictures on the wall, we'll remind them of the clause in the lease. This way, when we deduct from their security deposit, they won't come back and fight us on it. The last thing that we leave with the gift that helps us with general maintenance is a touch-up cup full of paint. Touch-Up Cup is a brand, and its product basically resembles a heavy-duty protein shaker cup with a plastic ball in it. Its purpose is to provide a small amount of touch-up paint to the tenants, so if they scuff up or get their walls dirty, they can touch up the paint and keep the unit looking nice and clean. Now, this doesn't mean they will be going around the whole unit when they move out to touch up all the marks on the walls. But in general, it does help cut down the amount of time I have to spend when turning the unit.
Yeah, and it also helps keep their unit feeling new and clean while living in it, which in turn might please them enough to make them want to stay in the unit longer. It's an inexpensive part of the gift that can make the tenant feel welcome and happy in their unit so we can have less turnover. They will usually leave it behind when they move, so we don't have to replace them that often. They're a cool item, and we'll leave a link in the show notes so you guys can check them out. We've had other landlords buy them, and they reported back that they were a huge success for the tenants and their property, and so that was really good to know. So, the purpose of the welcome gift is to, well, make our new tenants feel welcome and appreciated. It's also a way for us to guide them on unit maintenance. Many tenants have mentioned them that the people who helped them move in have told them how impressed they were and that they appreciated the snacks and they appreciated the waters to share during the chaos of move in day. By leaving a welcome gift, we feel we are starting the landlord tenant relationship on the right foot. It shows them that we care and that we are working to set them up for success when living in one of our units. Now, if these items don't make sense for you to include in your unit, think about what else you can do to welcome your tenant while also providing something of use for the unit. Maybe the tenant is excited about having a garden, so leaving some garden gloves and a small shovel with a potted plant would work well for them. Maybe leave a nice doormat for them so they can wipe their feet before entering and dragging mud or dirt all over the floors. Maybe just leave them a nice hand soap and a dishcloth with a personal note that welcomes them to the property. What you leave doesn't have to be expensive, just thoughtful. And one more thing. As we researched what others were doing with regards to giving gifts for their tenants, we noticed there was a lot of negative comments about this subject. Some people expressed that if you try to be friendly with your tenants, they'll take advantage of you. Others had given gifts and were upset that they didn't receive a thank you. Where I will not speak for other landlords and what their experiences are with gift giving, I will say that for us, not one time have we felt a tenant thought our gift was to build a bond or friendship, and that they then would have leeway on following the terms of our lease.
Let me tell you, if this is something that worries you, maybe you aren't placing the right tenant. We run our rental property business in a very professional manner. So, last year there was an article in Forbes all about how goodwill is important to the success of a business. Here's some of what the article had to say. We are wired for human connection when it comes to all relationships, including work relationships. As a business leader, in my opinion, it is essential that you show goodwill to help bring happiness to everyone around you, including your employees and your customers. It goes on to say that employees get to choose where they want to work and give 40 hours of their week. Well, the same goes for your tenants. They choose your unit to live in. If employees prefer to work for employers that treat them right, why wouldn't the same concept be true for where they live? The last thing from the article I want to point out is they say, bringing goodwill can invoke joy, meaning, and purpose to your organization's environment and enhance well-being. So, for those landlords who think that providing a roof over a tenant's head and fixing things when they break is enough, maybe it's time to find joy, meaning, and purpose in your business and your daily environment.
So, on occasion, we have not gotten a thank you, but that's okay. We don't do it so we can puff out our chest and be all proud that we were acknowledged, like, look what we did. We have other motives for gift giving, and for the most part, it has worked.
Yeah, the cost of our welcome gifts runs around $20. And remember, each year you can write off $25 for gift for each client on your taxes. So make sure you keep those receipts. But honestly, the whole point of ever giving any gift to someone is to be kind. For us, it's to start our relationship with the tenant out on a positive note. Many landlords consider it unnecessary, and that's fine too. We aren't saying that it's necessary. We are simply pointing out that leaving a welcome gift has worked well for us. As one grows and scales to, say, more than 25 units, it's likely that they wouldn't be managing their own properties, and then it would be up to a property manager to handle it. As Stacy said before, we do not only give gifts to be nice. By including the blue sponge, the wall hanger, and the touch-up paint, we do have a motive to encourage and remind our tenants to respect and care for the property. Where this episode is really to talk about welcome gifts we provide and why, we do also give gifts to our tenants throughout the year. For their birthday, we'll send them a card with a small gift card to go get a cup of coffee at a Starbucks. And before the holidays, we'll send a holiday card with a slightly larger amount on a gift card to a local cafe or eatery nearby. And the nice thing about this, we often hear back from our tenants that ours was the only birthday card they received in the mail, and in some cases it was their only gift. It makes them feel loved and cared about, which is all anyone should feel on their birthday. This simple little act costs us less than $10, and you know what? That $10 may make that tenant think twice about moving out when their lease ends. It might make them handle a small repair on their own, rather than bothering us with a call that their toilet handle is loose. And it certainly lets them know that we not only care about our rental property, but we also care about who resides in them as well. The last thing I want to say is that where we do not give out gifts at renewals, we do usually offer an incentive for them to renew. We did a podcast all about what we offer and why we offer renewal incentives way back when we started this podcast. I think it's episode 2. We'll link it in the show notes, so give it a listen.
Exactly. The gifts we give are very inexpensive insurance that has led us to keep tenants in place until they have a major life change, like they move out of town for their job, or they get married, or maybe they buy a house. We offer referral bonuses to tenants who refer a friend to rent from us. What do you think that they're telling those friends about us as landlords? What everyone should be saying about their landlords? That we care about the property and about them as tenants. That we make an effort to help our tenants feel welcome and at home in our rentals. That we respect our tenants enough to think about them during seasons that for some may be a really difficult time of the year for them. And kindness is what life is all about. We aren't saying that we don't experience frustration as landlords. Hell yeah, we do. But by being nice and considerate, it does help us be better people. And these small gestures that we do, we hope it'll help our tenants be better too. So that's all for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this short but important tip that we've shared. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in and listening today. Kevin and I are humbled and grateful each week when we nervously post another episode and see that landlords are actually listening and learning from what we have to say. If you love our podcast, do us a favor and follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. This is how we continue to deliver you great information week after week. We also have a free newsletter, Landlord Weekly. Each week we'll do a deep dive into a tip and provide several landlord-specific articles for you to read. It's a pretty short newsletter that gets dropped in your email every Tuesday, so we hope you check that out as well. This is Stacy and Kevin signing off, and until next time, you've got this, landlord.